Have you ever poured your entire life into someone else? Your heart, your savings, your dreams, only to wake up one day and realize you're nowhere to be found? For years, I sent money to my son month after month, believing it was love, believing it was my duty. But one quiet morning, I looked at my bank account and felt a hollow ache. I'd been giving away me, and nobody was giving me back. If you're a senior who's ever wondered where your own life went, this story's for you. Settle in with a warm drink, maybe a blanket, and let me take you on a journey, my journey, of losing myself and finding my way back. It's raw, it's real, and it's proof that it's never too late to choose yourself. Every morning, I'd wake up at 6 a.m., no alarm needed. The house was still, just the soft hum of the refrigerator and the faint creak of the floorboards under my slippers. I'd shuffle to the kitchen, flip on the coffee maker, Folgers, the same brand my mom used, and let the familiar gurgle fill the silence. While it brewed, I'd pull out my spiral notebook, my ledger, where every penny of my life was tracked in neat blue ink. Electric bill, groceries, gas for the old Buick, and at the bottom of every page, one entry never changed: transfer to son. It started small, $20.00 for school supplies when he was a kid, then $1,000.00 for college textbooks, then thousands for his wedding, his first apartment. Over time, the reasons faded, and it became habit. Every 25th, I'd open my bank app, type in the same amount, and hit send. No questions asked, no thank yous expected. I didn't need them, or so I told myself. This is love, I'd say. This is what moms do. Those numbers were my proof, my love letter wired across the miles, my way of saying, I'm here for you, even if I never said it out loud. I never asked him, are you doing okay? Is life treating you well? Those questions felt too big, too risky. They stayed locked in my chest, heavy and unspoken. He didn't offer much either. No calls to catch up. No, hey mom, how's your day? I'd tell myself he was fine, out there building his life, and that was enough. But deep down, I was scared. Scared to ask what the money really meant to him, scared he'd say he didn't need me, or worse, that he only needed my bank account. So I kept sending those transfers, month after month, like pieces of my heart packaged in dollars. It wasn't just about helping him, it was about feeling like I still had a purpose, like I was holding up my end as a parent. I convinced myself it was fine if he didn't say thank you. I didn't need gratitude. I just needed to believe I was doing something right, that I was still needed. But there was this quiet hum inside me, barely noticeable at first, like a distant radio signal. I'd sit at the kitchen table, ledger open, pen in hand, and feel it. A hollow ache, a sense that something was missing. I'd push it down, tell myself it was nothing, just the weight of getting older. But one morning it broke through. I was entering the transfer, same as always, when my hands started trembling, my vision blurred, and tears spilled onto the table, smudging the ink. I hit send, but my chest tightened, and a voice inside whispered, "You're giving away you." I couldn't shake it. Why did this feel so wrong? Why was I crying over something I'd done for decades? I sat there, coffee going cold, the steam curling into the air, and realized I'd been ignoring myself for so long, I didn't even know who I was anymore. That moment was a crack in the routine, a door I couldn't close. That day, I was late for my errands. I ran into my friend Susan at the bus stop, and she suggested grabbing lunch at a new place in town, a cozy seafood joint, the kind with checkered tablecloths, warm breadsticks, and grilled salmon plates that folks rave about. We sat by the window, splitting a basket of hush puppies, talking about the usual: doctor's appointments, grandkids, the way prescription costs keep climbing. Then the conversation turned to money. Susan leaned in, her voice bright, almost mischievous. "You know, I'm having the time of my life spending my own money these days. I bought a new quilt last week, soft as a cloud, and the moment I spread it out, I felt alive. Life's too short not to be the star of your own show, right?" Her words landed like a stone in still water, rippling through me. I laughed along, but my throat tightened. When was the last time I spent money on something just for me? A new sweater, a haircut, even underwear. I couldn't remember. Every dollar went to my son, my husband, the house. Spending on myself wasn't even a category in my budget. I went home that night and stood in front of the bathroom mirror, unwrapping my scarf. The lines around my eyes seemed deeper, the corners of my mouth heavier, like they carried years of unsaid words. I whispered to my reflection, "When did you stop knowing me?" My son thought I was helping him, but I was losing myself, dollar by dollar. Nobody told me to put myself last. It just happened. My ledger was proof. His name was always there, scrawled in blue ink, but mine, nowhere. My life was upside down, and I'd been too busy to notice. A few days later, my son called. His voice was the same as always, casual, straight to the point. "Mom, any chance you could send a bit extra this month? Got a friend's wedding and the gifts adding up." My heart sank, a cold weight in my chest. Normally, I'd have said, "Sure, honey," without a second thought, but this time my mouth went dry and the words wouldn't come. His tone, like it was nothing, like it was owed, cut deeper than I expected. I mumbled something vague, "I'll see what I can do," and hung up. But the question burned. Am I being respected here? That night, I sat on the couch, the TV droning with some news anchor's voice, but my mind was elsewhere. A bit extra, such a simple phrase, but it carried so much. I'd spent years pinching pennies, saying no to myself, making sure everyone else was covered. I'd never asked anyone for a bit extra. I'd never asked for anything. The ease of his request made me feel small, like I was just a line in his budget, not a person. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about boundaries, about respect, about where I'd placed myself in my own life. I opened my ledger and stared at the latest entry. Next to transfer to son, I drew a tiny star, my hand shaking. Then, in small, careful letters, I wrote, "Time to rethink this." For the first time, I started listing reasons not to send the money. He's 35, he has a job, I need to save for my future. Each word felt like a betrayal of him, of the mom I thought I was, but I kept writing. At the end, I wrote, "No more." It was a vow, quiet but heavy, like a stone settling into place. I didn't know what came next, but I knew I couldn't keep going like this. The hum inside me was louder now, demanding to be heard. I brought it up with my husband a few days later, my voice low but steady. "I'm thinking we should stop the transfers. I need to start planning for us, for me." He didn't look up from the remote, his eyes fixed on the flickering news. After a long, heavy pause, he muttered, "What's the point of stopping now?" His words hit like a cold blade. It wasn't just dismissal. It was like he was saying, "You're too far gone, so why bother?" Like my decision to change was pointless. Like I was pointless. I wanted to argue, to make him see how much this meant, but the truth sank in. He wasn't going to walk this path with me. Nobody was. not him, not my son. I was alone, and that loneliness was a sharp, aching truth, but it was also a spark, a fire I hadn't felt in years. It pushed me to keep going, to step into the unknown, even if it scared me. That evening, I called my son. "Starting this month, things are going to be tight," I said, my voice trembling but firm. "I need to focus on my retirement." There was a pause, a long one, then his voice, sharp with confusion. "Wait, you haven't been saving for that already? Why now?" His words knocked the air out of me. My hands shook, and my mind went blank. I wanted to scream, "Because I gave it all to you, because I thought you came first," but I didn't. I swallowed the hurt and said, "It's just time." After I hung up, I sat on the couch for hours, the house so quiet. I could hear the clock ticking, each second a reminder of the years I'd put him ahead of myself. He didn't mean to hurt me, I know that. But he didn't see me either, and that was the real pain. I'd never shown him who I was. I'd hidden behind those transfers, and he'd grown up thinking that's all I was, a check, a safety net, not a person with her own dreams, her own fears. The next few days were a fog. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I'd sit at the kitchen table, staring out the window at the bare trees, or fidget with the stove, turning it on and off for no reason. I'd boil water in the old kettle, let it hiss and steam, then forget it until the room was thick with mist. One afternoon, I caught my reflection in the bathroom mirror and stopped cold. My eyes were tired, my face hollow, like it belonged to someone else. "Who are you?" I whispered. "Why are you always last?" It wasn't just about the money. It was about every choice I'd made, every time I'd said later to myself. Once he's settled, I'll figure out my life. But later never came. While friends my age were taking trips to the Grand Canyon or joining knitting clubs, I was still balancing the checkbook, making sure everyone else was okay. Had I chosen this? Or had I just shrunk to fit someone else's expectations? The question hung there, unanswered, heavy as the silence around me. A night, lying in bed with the lights off, a tiny voice broke through the dark. Not my husband's, not my son's, mine. "You did your best," it said, soft but clear. "You gave everything you had." For the first time, I spoke to myself with kindness, like I was comforting an old friend. "You fought so hard. You never gave up." That whisper warmed my chest, like a hug I'd been waiting for my whole life. Nobody else had to understand. I knew my own strength, the years I'd carried, the sacrifices nobody saw. And right then I realized I had to start holding myself close if I wanted to heal. I'd been waiting for someone else to see me, to say, "You're enough." But the only person who could save me was the one staring back in that mirror. The next week, I logged into my bank account and canceled the automatic transfer. No announcement, no ceremony, just a quiet click on the screen. For the first time in decades, the 25th came and my account stayed mine. It felt like pressing pause and play at the same time. Something stopped, but something new began. A tiny, fragile spark of possibility. I texted my son, "Can't send anything this month. I'm planning for my future." My hands shook as I hit send, my heart pounding like I'd just run a mile. His reply came quickly. "Really? Why now?" The words stung, but they didn't break me. I expected the pushback, the confusion. Change is hard for him, for me, but he'll have to learn to stand on his own, just like I'm learning to stand for myself. That afternoon, I did something I'd put off forever. I bought a ticket to an art gallery. No, I'll go next month, or I need a friend to go with, just me. At the entrance, I handed over my ticket, my fingers brushing the paper, and thought, this is for me. It was small, but it felt like a revolution, like I was claiming a piece of myself back. On the way home, I stopped at a cafe, ordered a pumpkin spice latte, and pulled out a little journal I'd bought on impulse. I opened to the first page and wrote, "For me, coffee, $5.25. Those words were a victory, not just a drink, but a declaration. I mattered. I was here. I sat by the window, watching the world go by, the steam rising from my cup, and felt something new. Pride. Not for anyone else, but for me. Now, I start each month with a new notebook. Bright yellow, fresh pages, nothing like the old spiral ledger. The first line isn't about anyone else. It's for me. I plan my spending, maybe a new scarf, a matinee movie at the local theater, or a day trip to the botanical gardens. It's not about the dollars, it's about the choice. The act of saying, I'm worth this. Planning for me feels like rebuilding my soul, one small decision at a time. I walk into stores now and don't flinch at the price tags. I buy flowers, not for the house, but for me. Their petals bright against the kitchen table. I sit in the park, watching the leaves fall, the air cool against my face, and don't feel guilty for taking the time. These moments, they're mine, and they're adding up to a life I'm finally living, not just surviving. Things with my son are quieter now. He calls when he needs something, and yeah, that stings a little, like a bruise that hasn't quite healed, but I'm starting to see it differently. He's figuring out his own path, taking responsibility, even if it's slow. A while back, he texted, "Hey Mom, I opened a savings account. Not much, but I'm putting a little in each month." It wasn't an apology or a thank you, but it was better. It was proof he's growing, learning to manage his life, maybe even learning what it means to stand on his own. And me? I'm learning to step back and let him while I focus on my own. I don't need to be his safety net to be his mom. I just need to be me, whole and present, living a life that's mine. The house feels different too, lighter somehow. My husband's still not big on words, his eyes often glued to the TV or his crossword puzzles, but he notices things. The other day, he saw a vase of sunflowers on the kitchen table, their yellow petals catching the morning light. "What's with the flowers?" he asked, his voice curious, not critical. I smiled, my heart steady. "A gift to myself," I said. He raised an eyebrow, maybe confused, but I didn't care. My voice feels stronger now, like it's finally mine, filling the space in a way it never did before. I'm not shrinking to fit anyone's expectations anymore. I'm here, taking up room, and it feels good, like coming home to myself. For years, I thought sending money was love. My duty as a parent, my reason for being. I believed it was my role, the thing that made me matter. But somewhere along the way, I lost myself. I wasn't helping my son. I was erasing me, dollar by dollar, choice by choice. And the hardest part? Nobody filled that empty space. Not my husband, not my son, not even me. It took a long time to see that, to stand in front of that mirror and admit I'd been giving away my life. But once I did, I couldn't unsee it. I had to choose, keep fading or fight to come back. I chose to fight. Now I'm okay. Not because I'm someone's lifeline, but because I'm mine. I'm learning to live for today, not some distant someday that never comes. My ledger starts with me now, this month's spending for me. A coffee, a book, a quiet walk in the park. It's all mine. It's not about the money, it's about the choice. The act of saying, I am here and I am enough. I'm not fading into the background anymore. I'm calling my own name, living a life that's finally mine, one small, brave step at a time. Thank you for listening, for sharing this moment with me. This story's close to my heart, and I know so many of you feel it too. If you've ever had a moment where you realized you were giving too much, where you chose yourself, I'd love to hear about it. Send me a message or leave a review. Your stories mean the world. If this resonated, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and join me for the next episode. Until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it, and don't you ever forget it.